Welcome to Nerds, Geeks, in the Kitchen Sink. It's the podcast that's like hanging out at the
Oh
video
my
store.
God, it's almost Halloween.
It's almost the spooky time, so
I
we're
know,
very
right?
ready for that. I'm super excited. I'm
Yep.
trying to not let myself I can't watch Halloween yet. I can't watch, there's certain things I can't watch or listen to yet,
Yeah. Right.
but I'm working towards those things. I think when
Yep.
October 1st hits,
Yeah.
I think all bets are off and it's time. The leaves are changing. There's a We've had some cool nights, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
really the best. But I'd like it to just drop down 20 degrees like right away, please.
I mean too.
What's going on, man?
Not much. Not much. Locally, we had homecoming week. That was about it.
I heard it's apparently called Hoko now.
I guess.
Is that a thing?
I don't know if it's like fetch and they're trying to make it work, but I mean, to me, it's always just going to be homecoming. I'm not doing that damn
Hoko.
Hoko.
I don't know. I just someone referred to it as that, and I said, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Yeah.
I took the family to a car show
I
yesterday.
saw that.
Saw some fun, weird cars. I was hoping for any vehicles from Phantasm, but it didn't
Yeah.
see anything from Phantasm. There was a
You,
hearse.
I was gonna say you had one or two hearses there.
Yeah, there were a couple of hearses, but I didn't see anything close. I was looking for the
Right.
Cuda or the hearse.
Yeah.
Nothing. That's all I wanted was
I
Phantasm
know.
or maybe some Bond vehicles, but I didn't really notice
Right.
anything from Bond either. So, and this was a pretty big car show in
Yeah.
Springfield, Illinois. So,
Yep.
really let down by that. Great
Well,
work, car people. I'm not really into cars. It's my wife's thing.
Yeah.
But it was fine to go walk around and say hi to the Lincoln statue down there.
Yep.
Whatever. It was fine. We had a good day. We went to Cracker Barrel afterwards. It was great.
Hey, did you guys go to the cemetery or just where the area where the Lincoln statue is?
No, it was just like by the courthouse, like right
Oh,
around
okay. I
downtown.
know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna
By the
say.
museum, I think is there.
Gotcha.
So,
I was saying because there's a couple of statues, obviously, in
oh yeah,
Springfield of Lincoln.
he's
You know,
everywhere. Everywhere you
the
look,
most
he's peering at you,
the most famous one, you got to touch his nose at the cemetery,
and
and
it's all rubbed off. Yeah,
yeah. Well, no, it's not rubbed off. It's not like he's
it's rubbed off.
you know
No, I
he's
mean
not.
like that. It's you can see that it's everyone
It's
touches it.
shiny. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not like
He
his
doesn't
nose
look like what's his face from Game of Thrones with no nose, but
or like a ghoul from
yeah,
Fallout.
right.
No. Did you see the leaked Fallout trailer?
I haven't yet. Maybe that's
Looks
something we need to.
looks like Fallout. Looks
Okay,
like exactly like what you would think. Like it looks specifically based on Fallout 4, though I don't know that for sure.
okay,
But yeah, I mean it all looks like Fallout.
yeah,
It looks fine. Like I couldn't find anything to complain about, to be honest.
yeah. Well,
But this was
I
just a
mean,
little teaser I saw. Like
right.
someone filmed a screen somewhere, so
Okay,
I couldn't really see everything.
yeah,
But it looks cool. I'm not the world's biggest Fallout fan, but I thought that was cool.
yeah.
I think Fallout fans will be pleased for sure.
I did see the only thing I really saw because I've it's been kind of a hectic week was apparently Spawn is going to be in the new Call of Duty.
You're burying the lead, dude.
Oh,
Not just Spawn, also Skeletor.
oh, and I
Uh,
I I only saw Spawn. That was the only
also,
one I saw.
most importantly, Ash from Evil Dead 2 is going to be in Call of Duty. So, I mean, that's great that Spawn's going to be in there. Actually,
Right.
it's not just Spawn; it's a couple versions of Spawn,
Yeah.
and then also Soul. What is that person's? The guy with the gas mask. Got Soul Taker, Soul something.
I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I can't
That
remember.
character from Spawn is going to be in there, as well as Clown. Obviously, you got to have Clown,
Yeah.
and then like a different version, like the version of Clown. I think that's like the demon that's with the horns.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call. Oh, Violator. It's Violator.
Violator.
That's going to be
Okay.
somehow converted into a skin. It's all cool.
Hmm.
Like if you're a Spawn fan, you're going to love it. If
Yeah.
you play Call of Duty, otherwise forget it. But no, it's cool. I'm glad that that's getting like I find it interesting that they've gone for like it's been The Boys, which is a real popular TV show
Right.
that everyone knows about. And then we got Tomb Raider, which is like a beloved franchise. And then
Right.
it's like Spawn. And I'm like, hasn't Spawn been kind of dead for almost 30 years?
Eh, I mean, they're trying to work on the new movie, so
They're
maybe
trying.
that's. I know.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Did you see who's voicing him?
No, I didn't see who voiced.
I think it's Keith David.
Really? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, I did see that. It is Keith David. You're right.
which is the best choice, which is so cool. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm not a huge Call of Duty guy, but my friends want to play occasionally. So,
Right.
I'm going to get the Evil Dead skin. That's it.
Yeah. The last one I got was Cold War. The
Yeah,
last one I actually bought was Cold War. And then I can't remember which Call of Duty it was right before that, but they had a bunch of Halloween skins on that one too.
that's cool.
Because they had like Scream,
I remember
they
that
had Leatherface,
feather lace.
Featherlace, yeah. And then they had like two more, I can't remember. But I
Yeah, I
haven't
remember
played
that
them.
happening. Was there a
Yeah.
Michael Myers?
Yes, yes, there was a
There
Michael
was like a
Myers.
slasher mode that would pop up and someone would get a
Right.
knife.
You do the
Yeah,
zombies and
yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Uh, Speaking of gaming,
uh-huh.
I've been plugging away on Sea of Stars.
Okay.
I according to I looked up a guide because I was having trouble with a specific boss and I was making such a dumb mistake. I like died a few times and I was like, I must be doing something wrong. So I looked
Right.
that guide up, and judging by what I saw in the guide, I'm more than halfway done.
Okay.
So that's I'm still loving it.
Yeah.
So if it was, I think it's still free on PlayStation Plus for the next week or so. So if you're thinking about an RPG, Sea of Stars, pretty good.
Yep.
But
I think you
another thing that's been happening in my world is that I couldn't resist anymore, and I picked
uh-oh.
up a new game console.
Once you get
It is, and you may have seen this. I've posted about it a little bit. It is a very small Game Boy.
oh yes.
It's it's very small. Like I think in the pictures it's like difficult to tell exactly how small it is, but that's to me like that is the strength of this thing, is that it is super tiny.
This is the one I memed you on when it would take to actually see it well, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this is it. It is. Look how small it is. I mean, it's incredible. I turned it on. It's like literally on a keychain.
Yeah.
Uh, it's called the Anbernic RG Nano.
Okay.
And just to give you another idea of how small it is, I pulled out my old PSP here.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It fits in a quarter of or like a third of the screen.
Look at that. It's unbelievably small, right? And not
Right.
too thick either. Perfect for the pocket.
No.
Um, so if you're looking for something to screw around with, just casually. I have a game of Pokemon going. You can see.
Right,
Well,
right.
maybe you can see it. Maybe you can't.
Yeah.
Come on, camera.
There you go. You kind of have to hold it at a slant angle.
I have a Ghastly there
Right.
fighting coughing or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's pretty cool. Just a quick review. Um, it has some cool functions. It can play MP3s and videos if you so need something that
Right.
size. What got me interested in the device at all was that I like to listen to audiobooks when I go to bed.
Right.
And I often messing with my phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's my alarm clock, right? I don't
Right.
like to mess with sound settings on my, because I'm always like worried I'm going to mute an alarm or something when I'm
Mm-hmm.
changing volumes and I'm like half asleep trying to turn off my audiobook. So I was like, what if I had another little device? And this has a converter for an audio jack, so you can wear.
Right.
And my phone doesn't have an audio jack.
No, yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe that makes a lot of sense. And this was like $60.
Hmm.
It plays Game Gear, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Link's Master System, Mega Drive, NES. I mean, tons of stuff. PlayStation 1.
Right.
Um, it has a decent amount of power for the size that it is. And I'm just going to load up. I had Silent Hill. I had a game of
Yeah,
Silent
I
Hill
saw
started.
that. Yeah, that was the
I don't know if you could see this, but it my lighting is terrible for this, but
right
like
there. Oh,
there
don't move
is
it. Yep.
Silent Hill running on a 1.5-inch screen. and it's great. It works stupid well. I it's just I don't know. It's very exciting to me because I love this the tininess of it. And it's
My
just like it's like always there.
I could not use that thing because of these right here.
If you have big hands, don't buy it.
I was gonna say because there's no way that I would be able to.
It's and I mean it's hard for me. I mean I don't have the
Yeah,
world's biggest hands, but it's difficult. I often will put it down on the table or even one handed. So it's not good for like I thought about. Oh, I could play Castlevania. It's probably not perfect for that. You could play it. You
right.
could play it. It's playable,
Yeah,
but I would rather use something a little bigger for something when you need
yeah,
a little bit more precise aim and all that stuff.
right,
But something like an RPG, I plan to use this mainly for RPGs, right?
right,
So you can just use one hand and then press the button as you need to, and whatever.
right.
I can't believe, and I love it's the shell is metal, so it's
Okay.
pretty sturdy little guy. I'm in love. The RG Nano. I really love it. I keep playing with it. Like I'm like not playing PS5 because it's like I could play a little bit of this and just chill on the couch.
Right.
It's cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's not you wouldn't want it for your main. Like if you play a lot of handheld, you wouldn't
Right.
want to replace your main handheld
No.
with this. Like keep your
No.
Steam Deck, please. But that thing is great for what it is. So that's my little review of the RG Nano.
Okay.
I just love this thing.
Speaking of finding stuff, I mean, I didn't buy it because I had it and just found it again. But talk about a handheld that's got some staying power. I found my 2DS.
Yeah, the
It
2DS.
turned it's
It,
still turned on.
hell yeah.
It's been sitting for I don't know how many years
I
and it
prefer the
still had like
2DS over the
half a
3DS.
battery.
Yeah,
Yeah, it still had half a battery.
the 2DS is a powerful little guy. I love that thing.
But I need to find a power cord,
Hmm.
a charging cord.
Those are cheapo. You can get
I
those no
know.
problem. Amazon's your friend there.
Yes, I know. That's what I figured. But that was
Yep,
the only thing. But I couldn't believe that I turned that on and I had Pokemon White in
still
it.
going.
Yeah. I'm like, holy hell.
That rules. That's awesome. I'm playing
So,
Pokemon Crystal for the first time.
okay.
I never played it. I played Pokemon Red and Blue a lot,
Yeah.
and then I got Silver, and like I play a little bit of Silver. Like I bought Silver day one, and I was just like, "There's something feels different. I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna go play Red and Blue again." And I played
Yeah.
Red and Blue forever. If I ever wanted to play Pokemon, and then eventually Leaf Green and Fire Red came out for Game Boy Advance, and it's like, oh, these are nicer looking versions
Right.
of the originals.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll try that. But I never really did any other. I've really only played like Red and Blue on Pokemon. So
I
I'm really
had,
going to try to finish Crystal. I've already made it pretty
yeah,
far in.
I had Emerald,
Mm-hmm.
but and then somebody actually bought that game for me from like $200
Wow. I know
because they
they're,
couldn't find it and they were trying
yeah.
to collect all the Pokemon games themselves. And I'm like, man, I didn't even buy the DS for that
I don't know what they're
at the
going for
time.
now, but I know they are. Yeah, they do have some value for sure.
Yeah.
I still
So,
have all my old carts. I just, I love the ease of the emulation.
right. Well, and then a lot of those emulators, you can do multi platform. So,
That's what I love about it for
yeah.
sure. But have you played anything else or watched anything else?
Not really. I've been finishing a couple of series that nobody would be interested in. So,
Okay, fair enough. Uh, I do have a movie to talk about.
okay.
I don't think I talked about it last time. Uh, Cobweb.
I saw that and want to see that,
You
depending on
sh-
your.
you should.
Okay.
I think it might be. Boy, this is tough, but it might be my favorite movie so far of the year.
Okay.
I really like it. I really like it. I don't want to spoil it. I won't spoil it here because
Okay.
there are some twists and turns.
Okay.
You have probably most recognizably the mom is and I'm forgetting the actress's name, but she was in Castle Rock and she played Annie Wilkes,
Okay.
I think. She
I think I've seen the trailer, so
dark hair.
I've yeah.
I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. She is the mother, and then the father is the guy who plays Homelander in.
Oh, yeah, okay. I
in The
know who you're
Boys.
talking about.
What
Yeah.
is his name? I'm not remembering anyone's names.
No, I know. It's all right.
It is a horror movie about
Yes.
a kid who doesn't really fit in, and he
Now, is this an all Australian cast as well?
no,
No.
no, I
Okay.
don't believe so.
Okay.
Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr. I knew both of
Okay.
those names. I
Yeah.
feel so dumb. Um, but and it's not an Australian production. I believe it was
Okay.
I believe it's Bulgaria is where it was shot.
Okay.
But yeah, so Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr, both fantastic. Also, Cleopatra Coleman. I don't, I, I didn't know her, but
Mm-hmm.
I felt like maybe I'd seen her in something else. I
Right.
haven't actually looked into it.
The
She
names,
apparently
I mean,
she was in Infinity Pool, which I did not see.
okay.
Um,
She must not have been in very long because I don't remember.
yeah, Last Man on Earth TV show. Um, maybe I saw she was in an episode of Comedy Bang Bang. Maybe I've seen her there. But
Oh,
anyway, I thought she was also really good.
okay.
She plays the teacher of the boy,
Okay.
and he basically starts to have weird things happen in his room at night. And this is really early on.
Right.
So this isn't. I wouldn't consider this to be a spoiler. This is just more like to give you an idea of what we're
Right.
dealing with.
Right.
A voice comes out of the wall in his room and knows his name and is trying to get him to do something. And it's not clear, is the voice just in his head? Is this something real? Is it a dream he's having? What's going on? His parents act strangely. There's clearly something going on. And that's about all I really want to say. Oh, there's a Busey in it.
Oh, jeez.
Luke Busey, who I think is Gary's son.
I think it is too.
I could be wrong. He's a little guy, but he looks just like Gary Busey. It's weird because he's
Poor
like
kid.
really young. He's a little kid,
Yeah.
but he looks like Gary Busey, and he kind of has like he's like evil in the show. Oh well, that's not really a spoiler. He's like a bully. We'll say
Yeah.
he's a bully.
Okay.
Perfectly cast.
Gotcha.
Perfectly cast. And so a couple different things come together really well. You could say that this may be, and I don't know the specifics of what it's really based on, or if it is just, something
Right.
a writer came up with, or if it's like a creepy pasta or something like that. It kind
Right.
of feels like a creepy pasta, but I haven't
Yeah.
ever heard of it before. And, there does turn out to be something going on. And I think maybe there's a reveal at the end that will make or break some people on the movie.
Okay.
But for me, I was in the mood to have fun, and
Right.
I was definitely in the mood for what the movie gave me.
Okay.
So I could definitely see this. Like, you might have an idea of what it is, and then be disappointed or whatever.
Being very divisive on the end.
I could see that happening, but personally for me, it was a win all the way around. I really
Right.
liked it. There's a really fun reveal near the end.
Right.
Boy, I had a lot of fun. It's a fun movie. I'm really trying hard not to spoil it. Maybe I'll just stop talking about it. But I really recommend Cobweb. I actually
Okay.
bought it. I bought it. I really,
Okay.
really liked it. So Cobweb
Yeah,
gets
it's
my
on
thumbs
my
up.
it's my on my upcoming list. So
Yeah,
I just haven't got to it yet.
definitely recommend
Now,
for sure.
did you see The Boogeyman when it came out?
I haven't seen it yet. I plan
Okay.
to.
I definitely see it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's already gonna happen. I just
right.
And
then what was the other one? Talk to Me.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh my god.
I know.
You may okay.
I know, Chris. I know.
Okay.
Shut up. the night that we watched Cobweb, it was between Talk to Me and Cobweb.
Okay.
And Cobweb won because it was cheaper.
Right.
So I ended up just buying Cobweb for still $5 less than I could have rented Talk to Me.
Right. I get it.
So,
but
I know I'm going to love it.
I will say you may raise your best so far after you see Talk to Me.
I'm happy to do that.
I mean, and for the budget, what the movie was, it was phenomenal. Yep. What was going on, and it had, a lot of the movies recently for me, they're horror, but they're not scary.
Yeah, I know what you
know
mean.
what I mean. So I haven't
by
really
the way,
seen a good scary movie lately.
Cobweb falls into that. I would not say that it would be scary for a younger person, I'm sure, just because of the atmosphere and the dread, and there's some jump scares or whatever. but it's Cobweb is probably not going to scare you. I
Okay.
mean, there's some parts that maybe like I can't say, but
I mean, yeah,
I know.
minus jump scares, but you know what I mean when I say
Talk
scary.
to me is more along the lines of like a Hereditary. I've heard.
Yeah.
So, and I know that the directors of that, it's two brothers, right?
Yeah.
And
From
they're like goofy little guy. I heard an interview with them,
yeah,
and they were just
they're
like energetic. They just loved it. They seem to
yeah.
have like fun doing it. I
Oh
was
yeah.
really excited, and I know they've already announced at least one more. Talk to
Right.
me.
Right. And they said I saw another interview where they're working on like two other different horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
They
this is
mentioned that
just
in the
like their
interview. Yeah.
wheelhouse, you know.
Well, they come from
So
YouTube, which is so strange.
right. New
They made a
Zealand.
name and money from YouTube, and then
Yeah.
I believe it's Australia. I think they're Australian.
Okay. I was thinking New Zealand, but
I believe it's Australian, but I don't want to say
eh,
close enough. They're different,
right.
but I believe they're Australian.
Oh, okay.
Um, but no, I'm excited to see what those guys do.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
so
it was
cool.
and you know what? I mean, really that's our kind of wheelhouse of horror. I
Yeah,
mean, look at Phantasm. You know, most of those weren't huge, big budgets.
Phantasm has
You
rocketed to
know,
my number two franchise of all time.
look at the early, you know, Friday the 13th and
I'll look at them.
Halloween.
I looked
And
at them this
no, I
week.
know. No, I know. No, you
I
said
got
you weren't
those
going to look at them yet.
just off camera. I have all the
Okay.
Halloweens and all the Friday the 13th.
Okay. All right. But that's what I'm saying. Those movies, they didn't need this, you know, super CGI,
Mm-hmm.
blood,
Yeah,
you
I know
know,
what you mean.
fantastical kills like Saw or anything like that.
Sure.
But they had that lasting creep
Yeah,
kind of that would stay with you.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to Talk to Me. I know I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
It's kind of been one of those that I know I'm kind of just like saving for the right night.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know I'm going to like it. So
Yeah.
just sort of hanging on to it till I know. Like, I'll just know.
Yeah.
I'll know.
And
And
I'm
I
still
think soon.
yeah. You know, like you've seen the new Exorcist trailer, right?
Yeah. There's a couple
Okay.
trailers at this point. I've seen them all, I think.
Right. Okay. I haven't
Speaking of
yet.
that,
Yes.
boom, Pazoos.
The OG one, yeah.
If you're
I
watching
don't.
on YouTube,
right. If you're watching on YouTube,
join the Discord, join the Discord, join the Discord.
subscribe to YouTube.
Watch on
Subscribe to
YouTube,
YouTube.
subscribe, hit the bell.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, I don't know about this movie.
I don't either. I really don't.
I just,
I was way more excited by the idea of it.
Right.
Because it was announced. It was announced before even Halloween Kills came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that time, I loved Halloween 18 so much, and I was like, this guy has it. I have my, David Gordon Green has my full trust. He doesn't really have it anymore.
No.
So I don't know.
From everything, and I mean, I haven't seen the movie. It's coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
But and I know this is just like a small thing, and I know some people would disagree with me. The whole concept was this was almost a more of a religious horror.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
You're
you
talking
don't
the
have
original.
the original,
Sure.
yes,
Yeah.
the original, and I mean even three, to a degree. You know, the Catholic Church played a big part on what was taking place.
Sure. Yeah.
This doesn't seem like they moved completely. You can't have an exorcist if you don't have a Catholic priest involved. And this looks
we
like
may. I don't know.
and this looks like this is Reagan's mom doing the exorcist on these girls.
I don't. You think
that's the way I got from.
But if they ask her, they're going to say, "We'll get a priest." She's going to say, "Get a priest," because that's what worked for me.
But that doesn't show it on any of the trailers.
Well, right, they can't give us everything. Plus, it takes place in it. Like the huge part of the trailer takes place in a church.
I know, but like I said, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just.
Although it didn't look like a Catholic, it wasn't a cathedral.
No.
I mean, it could have been. I don't know. Listen, I'm not an expert, but I think maybe we just haven't seen. There's got to be a priest involved. It's The Exorcist.
You would think so, but like I said, he doesn't have my trust anymore after, the last couple of his. So
and look, and I want to clarify that I like the new Halloween movies for what they are. I still think they're better than some of the Like for sure better than the
Rob
zombie
Zombie
movies.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, for
no, I
sure.
mean, I'll give you that. But I mean, the expectation to the delivery, let's put it that way.
My problem is,
I expected more out of it.
well, the
And
problem
it's
is the Halloween 2018 is so good and
that's what
perfect.
I mean.
Halloween
That's what I
2018
mean.
is perfect. It's so good. And then Kills, I've come around a little bit on Kills, but I still would not say I like Ends more. And I don't love Ends. I think Ends is good. I do think it's good, but I don't love
Honestly,
it.
the story I like of the kid more than of Michael.
Well, it's because like it seems like they don't know what to do with him anymore.
I know that's what I mean. That's I liked the in ends. I like the story of the kid more than I
I,
liked
as we talked about
the
at the
Michael.
time, I
Yeah,
wish they could have set up Corey in Kills, but they just didn't. It's the old Star Wars problem. They didn't have a clue what they were doing.
right.
They didn't have a plan. It seems like, or and I know that plans did change due to COVID. They had a whole different Halloween Kills was originally a much different movie from what I understand. So I don't know how much of it's COVID messed that up. I don't know how much of it is the creative team.
I'm sorry. I can't use that as an excuse anymore. There's ways there were like umpteen million ways to get around.
Well,
Point
from
of
what I
story of
understand,
what
they had to change it because they couldn't do the things they wanted to do due to COVID restrictions and all that. That's what's been said. That's the story we've been told, and I understand that.
But how many times are we going to hear that? Oh well, we couldn't do what we wanted to do because of COVID. This movie turned out not great, but well, we couldn't,
Well,
COVID.
I see what you mean,
I
and a
mean,
lot of times in
I'm
horror,
tired of the excuse.
well, a lot of times in horror, having less, you end up with a better product. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Because you have to try harder on other
Well,
aspects of
that's
it.
what I was trying. That's what I was talking about, like with the older franchises, like
Mhm.
Phantasm and the
No
original.
money. There's no money for
No money. Yeah,
Phantasm.
I mean, look at Terrifier.
I will look at it.
He filmed those during COVID. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I thought Terrifier 2 was a hell of a lot better
Sure.
than
Yeah.
the Halloween.
I don't know. They're different. I like Terrifier too. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not one. I don't love Terrifier. I like them. I think they're fun to watch and they're gory and that's great and the effects are
Yeah, and I
amazing.
mean,
But they're I don't know. They're pretty mean. I don't
but
know.
they're
I like him. I just maybe
yeah,
it's the whole clown thing. I just like it doesn't do anything for me. But I like the character. It's
yeah.
funny to whatever. I don't know. Terrifier's fine.
Terrifier
It just
is
doesn't like get
almost
me going.
to me is almost like how Freddy was in the first couple of movies.
It may be so.
I mean,
Maybe
took
so.
that kind of not verbatim, but do you know in the feel?
Sure.
It's kind of this almost slapstick slasher.
Yeah.
There's some real kind of oddball,
He's clowning around.
right? Literally.
Yeah. But anyway, Exorcist, we'll
I
see.
know.
I mean, I will never be mad at like an attempt at this kind of thing. But if it sucks, it's going to be a bummer.
See, I won't be mad at a good attempt, but if it's a weak attempt,
Sure, but
and then you're gonna use excuses, then
I'm
I
not.
will. Then no, not
I'm not
you. I'm
involved with the
saying
production, Chris.
no. I'm saying the people in the production. If they're gonna use excuses, then I will be mad
Yeah,
because there should be. I mean, there's movies that you have three people in the whole production that are some fabulous pieces of film.
sure. No, that's a
So
valid point.
you
We'll
can't.
see.
Yeah.
That's a valid point. We'll see. But no, I would not say that I'm hyped or anything. I will
No.
be seeing it, early if I can, but I'm not like raring to go on that one.
No.
Did we talk? We haven't talked about the Nun yet, have we?
No, not yet. And
I saw
that's
the
one
Nun
I
too.
haven't. You did see too.
I did
Okay,
see that. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Let me just give you a quick blast of the Nun. Um, and look, there's not really anything I can spoil. You know
No,
what to expect,
it's
right?
just if you've seen one, you've seen two.
Pretty much.
Basically,
I think maybe I prefer the Nun 2,
I've heard that
um,
from a few people.
but I also don't think it's like. I almost think it doesn't really matter because they're both so similar.
Right.
Um, I think I'm realizing the problem with the Nun as the villain is that the Nun can't really do anything. The Nun makes other people do things, But all the nun can really do is be in the background of a shot for your eye to notice and go, ooh, creepy.
Right.
Or the nun can go towards the camera and scream.
Yeah.
And then you're on to the next scene. You don't really ever see the nun do anything else, just
Right.
appearing in ways, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I'll tell you this, the movie's cold open, pretty good.
Okay.
The first 5 minutes, I was in the showing I was in was like weirdly rowdy.
Okay.
It was a Sunday afternoon at 4:30 in a tiny theater in a tiny town, and there was not that many people in the showing, like
Okay.
maybe 20 people, maybe. And as soon as it starts, I'm hearing people go, "Uh oh!" You know, people are going, "Oh no!" When there's the first big scare,
Right.
the loudest scream I've ever heard in a theater because of something that happened on the screen.
Right.
So I think that added a little extra juice for me,
Yeah.
uh, because the reactions were huge to this in the theater,
Okay.
and I think this was just the people having fun. You know,
Yeah.
as a group of, I think like that in that particular instance, it was like a group of teens that were like maybe hadn't seen something like this before
Oh,
or not much
gotcha.
of it, so they were talking to the screen and not too bad. It was I was a little annoyed at first, but it was like, okay, this is funny and they're having fun, so I'm
Yeah.
having fun. Whatever. I'm not going to go over there and scream at them. They weren't talking in inappropriate times. They were
Right.
reacting to things.
Yeah.
Still, maybe you don't make so much noise in the theater, but whatever. Um, and the cold open, I thought was really well made. Like
Okay.
that could be like a great little short film on its own. Um, really good. I that's all
Okay.
I could say about it. Excellent. Like among the best things in the franchise, and I'm including Conjuring. Really
Okay.
good. Or at least I thought it was really effective.
Yeah.
So, but then yeah, it's like, how do we get the characters from the first movie back together?
Right.
And then how do we get them to have to face the nun again? And they do the thing that the other ones have been doing since Annabelle did it, where, well, I mean, even Conjuring does this, where you're dealing with the nun, yes, or the main
Right. I
antagonist,
mean,
but there's also this other thing happening.
mentioned on the
Oh, it's
side.
more
Yeah.
than mentioned.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
I don't want to give it away because it's one of those things where you're either going to think it's great or you're going to go, what the fuck? Why did they? And because it is
Right.
I'll just tell you, it's an entity of some kind.
Okay.
That's clearly not the nun.
Right.
And do you remember when I was so freaked out by the fact that there was a werewolf in the Annabelle movie? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's like Annabelle Comes Home, like the haunted sleepover movie, whatever
Right.
that one
Right.
was called.
Right.
Um, I was like, freaked out by the fact that there's like a werewolf in that movie, and I was like, "What?" I've since thought, like, of course there's who cares? This is ghosts and goblins and stuff. Like,
Right.
there's going to be a werewolf. That's fine. Well, it's not a werewolf in the Nun movie, but it has a similar thing where it's like, really, we're going
Fine.
to go
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But I want to go with it and say it was fine.
Okay.
And the Nun is your classic
Jump scare kind of.
religious jump scare horror movie exorcism
Gotcha.
thing. Not a lot of actual exorcism going on, though there are a couple of scenes.
Right.
My biggest gripe, and this is a pretty big problem, is that there's a moment in the writing, and I tend not to like want to blame the writing too often, but there's a thing that happens in the story where it's like, oh, we need to check like 3 boxes. How are we going to do this? Oh, there happens to be an old librarian that knows all the answers. It can do this, it can do that, and knows this and knows that, has every answer. Well, my theory is that it's this, and then that's the theory that is the correct answer.
Right.
And I was like, that's so lazy. I don't know how else they're going to do it. But I'm not a writer, so I shouldn't be judging. But I was just like, I was rolling my eyes in the theater, like, okay, this old guy's gonna. It was by the numbers.
Right.
So didn't
Well,
love
I
that
mean, that's
aspect.
the bad thing. I'm sorry. Yes, you can. If bad writing can be bad writing, so
Let me just say that I didn't like it.
right.
I'm not going to call it bad, but I didn't like it. So, you know,
Quit fence sitting.
it's comfortable.
That As long as it's not a reverse chain link.
Oh, reverse. So anyway, The Nun, if you want to see some jump scares and, the other thing about The Nun, and this goes for both of them, is that I love looking at those movies.
Right.
They're beautiful. They're beautifully shot.
Yeah.
They're always beautiful landscapes, and it's always like European old buildings and
Right.
streets and stuff. And I like all that. It's nice to look at.
Well, and the color palette always fits like the movie. You know what I mean? It's just that it's a horror movie because
I love, and
it's
there's some
dark tones, the grays, the sometimes that like off brown light.
Well, I could kind of compare it to like the art of like Mike Mignola, like the Hellboy stuff. It's like there's just as much black on the page as there is all the other colors.
Right.
It's like high contrast. I don't know. I really like the look of these movies there, and that goes a long way for me.
Yeah,
because you're sitting there for 2 hours or whatever it is,
right?
You have to look at it. So
it's kind of the point of a movie. Yeah,
taking the artistry into account, it gets some more points that way.
Okay.
So, same again for Cobweb. I do love they pick a certain palette that they go with, and it's all really well designed. And I think Cobweb is a more fun movie in general.
Right.
I'm not going to go back to that movie, but
yeah,
great. I don't think I've seen anything else.
Yeah, I did see an older movie that I went back to. Speaking of like this religion, Deliver Us from Evil.
I've seen it.
I
Eric
really
Bana?
like
is
that
Eric
one.
Bana in that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that the one? There's like
where he's the cop. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We watched that one on our. No, was it on our honeymoon?
All I remember. It's been pretty.
Hang on. When did that come out? Deliver.
Here, I'll tell you in a sec.
From Evil, 2014. Yes. Okay, that lines up. We watched it on our honeymoon because I got married in 2014.
Yeah.
And we watched it. We had a cabin, and we were in the woods of Missouri. And for some reason, there was like that movie. I was like on edge. Like I went to bed, and I went out onto the porch, and there was like, a dark forest out there, and like weird noises happening. But it's the forest. We had a secluded cabin,
right?
And I was like, boy, we should not have watched that movie. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I remember there being some good scares and like some pretty unique things in there,
right? And it was one of those. That was probably one of the, other than like, I think Hereditary was probably the last one that really gave me those kind of feelings. Mm-hmm. But one of the earlier movies that it really wasn't about so much all of the visuals, but just the feeling of it.
Yeah, it has a very creepy, dreadful vibe.
Yeah, and knowing the guy that Eric Bana played is a real guy, mm-hmm. and some of this stuff actually, like,
creepy stuff
occurred. Yeah, so
yeah, I remember that one being fun.
That was
cool. Maybe I should go back to that. I mean, it will have almost been 10 years.
Right. Speaking of them, what was it? Oh. You know what a movie is almost 20 years old today?
Let me see. So 2003.
It came out in 2004. So it's 19 years today, but
it's too broad for me to guess. What?
Nick Frost, Simon Pegg.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Yes.
Came out today, 19 years ago.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I loved it then and I love it now.
I'm still, between Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, that's probably on a regular rotation of movies that I watch.
Oh, for sure. Me too. I've seen Hot Fuzz the most. Hot Fuzz, I think, is my favorite of the three. And I do like World's End. I do like it.
Yeah.
I think it's good. And more watches helps you in that Edgar Wright way, where you start to pick up on little things that maybe you didn't the first 10 times you watched it.
Yes.
But no, man, Shaun of the Dead, what a classic. At this point, it is funny that it's a 20-year-old movie that like kids today maybe not would have seen, and I'm sure people will still love.
Oh yeah.
So if you're out there and you've not seen Shaun of the Dead, I mean, do yourself a favor. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead, do yourself a favor if you haven't seen it. Come on, it's funny. It's very funny. It's zombies. It's a romantic comedy with zombies.
Yeah. And then another movie that it's like one of my favorite sports movies, but I did not realize, because I never really paid attention, the director of is a movie called For Love of the Game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Sam Raimi film.
Yeah, it's his sports movie.
I did not, all the times that I've seen it, and I watch it all the time. I
Yeah,
never paid attention that Sam
yeah.
directed that movie.
You can tell in the way it's
I mean,
directed. I mean, you,
yeah.
but
Now looking back, knowing that he's directed it, I was like, wow.
yeah,
And I think that was another. That one's 24 years.
that one. Let me see here.
Was it 99?
I want to say yeah, 99.
Okay.
Yep, and you get I mean some amazing names on the cast list.
Oh yeah.
I mean John C. Riley, Brian Cox,
Yeah.
Costner, of course.
Right.
Some great people.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons is in it.
Yeah.
A
He's the
Sam
coach.
Raimi staple.
Yeah.
How amazing is it that like J.K. Simmons was already a Raimi guy, and then Raimi gets Spider-Man, and he's like, "Yes, I know who J. Jonah Jameson is
Oh
going to
yeah.
be." Do we need to cast this? Nope, I know who to ask.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's certainly not my favorite movie of all time
No.
or anything, but I appreciate the Raimi of it all.
Yeah.
The
Well, I'm also a sports guy, so
the Oldsmobile.
yep.
Um. Anyway, I'm just looking at pictures from the. Anyway, okay, I need to go away from this. My
Okay.
brain. Okay, we're here today to talk about Ahsoka. Unless you got
Well,
anything else.
now the one series that did
Oh,
start,
where? Let's talk about this.
yes,
Sorry.
yes, the Continental,
Yes, the Continental.
which is the should we say prequel to John Wick?
John Wick prequel TV
Yes,
show.
yes.
Okay, well they call it a TV show, but the first episode was a film.
It was an hour. There's three. It's almost 3 hour and a half.
It's a film.
It's a
It's a
TV
trilogy.
event, is what
Yeah,
I
it's a
think it
film.
said underneath. Yeah.
And I think I like this format. I I have some thoughts on the show, but the format wise,
Right.
I think I could really get into more shows doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about it.
I like it a lot, actually. I mean, there's a few little things but it's like looking back between then and, thinking that it's set in the like late 60s, early 70s,
Mm-hmm.
and to how that world evolved. I can see a lot of it, you know, develop that way. So some of the things that I'm like, it's not exactly the assassin's world that we know from John Wick. I can see how
Yeah,
it evolved. So, I mean, the kind of things that I was a little questionable on, I almost give a pass just looking, and there's not even like huge questioning on, just kind of some things like, well, that's not exactly how, I can see the time period, how it evolved. So I give it a little more leniency, I guess.
sure. Well, I'll just tell you that I attempted to watch it last night.
Okay.
I kept falling asleep. It was pretty late.
Well, yeah.
And so, and I guess I'll just say that it maybe didn't fully grab me,
Okay.
but benefit of the doubt, it might have been that I was very tired. I don't know, but there wasn't really anything in there yet
No,
that made me go, "Oh, I love this."
I would say there's a lot of buildup in this episode of the probably what hour and a half that it is, almost hour and a half that
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Yeah.
I would say really John Wick esque scenes,
First of
fighting
all,
scenes.
first of all,
There's maybe two.
there's the one at the beginning.
Yeah.
I like the setup of that, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
A
okay,
heist.
this is
Yeah.
what we're getting. This is cool." Um, how spoilery do you want to go?
We can go. I mean, it's up to you.
Well, as someone who's only seen half the episode, uh, I did not. I had a hard time grappling with the fact that they're going to give me a John Wick show with
No.
John Wick action,
Yeah.
with a guy dressed in a suit with long hair, doing all the John Wick moves, lumbering through doorways, shooting people in stairways, fighting multiple gunmen at once. and it's not Keanu Reeves, and the guy just isn't as good. Maybe I'm being too
I can
critical.
Okay, you haven't seen the second half of it,
No, I have not.
so I am not going to say much more than
Keep going.
yeah. Just keep going.
Okay.
Because there's a part at the end that I wouldn't say makes up for your apprehension on it, but is more fulfilling of the character.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let me just go with that.
What do you think about the guy who plays Winston?
I like him.
You like
He's
him?
got a lot of mannerisms of Ian
Ian McShane.
Shane. You can see how he developed into Winston in the John
Hmm.
Wick movies.
Well, and then Sharon's in there too,
Yes.
um, which is cool. I didn't really expect to see him, but pretty cool that he's there.
Right.
Um,
And that guy is spot on
he's great.
acting.
No, I think
Like,
he's
I
great.
mean, he's spot on for being a
He,
younger.
it's I would almost agree that like he somehow captures like anytime Lance Reddick was on the screen, he's like there's something about him where I just like I don't know what it is. He's like kind of magnetic.
Yeah.
Lance Reddick was like that. He kind of had a twinkle in the eye a little bit,
Right.
something going on
You
that
see
was fun
more
to watch.
behind, but the wheels burning behind the eyes,
Yeah,
and he says two words, but you know there's like a million more things going on behind.
and I think that the new guy, and I didn't get his name. I didn't get
Yeah.
any actor's name.
Right.
Sorry, except for the ones I already knew.
Yeah.
But I like he's like one of the most promising parts so far about the show.
Right.
So I was like kind of delighted by that. I guess he's great.
Now, how far have you gotten in? What was the last thing that you saw?
Um, boy, well, I definitely got to see Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
What do you think of his accent? I don't think it's very good.
He's used it in other places like that before.
I remember it in that other movie. That
Right.
movie, the one where his daughter gets killed. God, and he's like a Boston cop or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that movie called? Edge of Darkness.
Yes. Yep.
I feel like that's this. He just pulled that. He pulled it out of a drawer and dusted it off and said, "Here's
Yeah.
my accent."
Right.
um, I don't think he. I didn't come here to attack Mel Gibson yet, but he's like I'm not complaining about his performance,
Right.
but he didn't really do anything that made me go, "Oh, there's the old Mel I used to love." You know, it
And
didn't.
the thing is I will say this about him, and it's just not defending or detracting from it. He is not much in the second half of the show
Okay,
of the episode. I think he's setting the groundwork for Winston and his brother.
yeah,
So, they've known him all their lives for the most part, and
yeah.
he's just kind of this above them kind of person. And
Well, he lives in a tall tower. He's
well,
obviously above most people in the city. Come
yeah,
on,
but
Chris.
when Winston's in the office, they're in the same level. Uh no, but I mean you see where Winston gets some of his attitude in the John Wick films,
Mm-hmm.
yet is more refined.
Yeah, and I like Winston
So I think
getting into
it's
mischief with people's wives and things.
right,
Uh, that's all fine. I
right.
buy that as a
Yeah,
something Ian McShane would have done as a younger
as a
man,
younger,
as
yeah,
this character for sure.
right.
Um,
Now, have you gotten to the part where Winston is looking for his brother and then meets the other three people?
yes, that's right where I stopped.
Okay.
They're like a junkyard or something, or a
Dojo.
shipyard. No, so it's the guys. I think they first meet like in a junkyard or something.
Okay.
Um, I thought I recognized the guy, but I couldn't place him.
Okay.
Uh, that's right where I stopped. I'm like, basically halfway through, like 45
Okay.
minutes in or so.
Okay. Well, I think the one part where now, were you at the part where he went to the dojo and talked to the girl and then she took him to the back room?
I might have dozed off.
Okay.
I don't know. I was
Well,
really tired. I'm gonna have to rewatch the whole thing.
I have not looked at like who the all the characters' names are,
Yeah,
but I have this feeling that one of them is a younger Lawrence Fishburne's character.
I think it's pretty clear that he's going to be in the show. I saw a lot of bird imagery, and then there's the
Well,
subway. Well, that was
well,
something different,
that's.
but I think that maybe the bird imagery could be related to that. I don't know, maybe not.
But if you listen to like I said, one of the things that they've captured some of the characters' mannerisms
Okay,
as a younger, like Winston, I think is there's some, and then Sharon and
okay,
uh I think this guy
he might be Lawrence Fishburne.
he might be
What do
Lawrence
they call him?
Fishburne.
The King?
Yeah, well, he's the king.
Is he just called the King, or is he the King of something? Underground King?
Maybe that's what it
The
was.
King? And I could just so easily search this on the internet, but
Right.
I don't know.
And then, at the end of episode 1, they have one of the most prominent John Wick lines that Winston says that usually it's John saying it.
Well,
And
that's
it's in the
weird.
preview. It's in the preview.
Huh. The word yeah.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. No. No, and with it being in the preview, it's the I'll just spoil it. It's the guns. I'm gonna need a lot of gun. I'm
Yeah.
gonna need lots of guns.
Lots of guns. Doesn't he say that in Matrix too? They're like, he's like, what do you need? And he said, guns, lots of guns.
Yeah, something like that.
The
It might be.
Matrix, guns, lots of guns. Yeah, he says guns, lots of guns, literally in the Matrix.
So never
Weird.
paid attention that he's
It's
used that line in more than one
it's
film.
right before the lobby shootout, I think.
Okay. Yeah, where they're
Maybe
in
you remember it.
yeah.
So cool. They're going to save Lawrence Fishburne of all people,
Right.
the King.
Yeah. But so far so good. I like it. It's a little bit different than what the John Wick films are, but you can see a lot of similarities building up to what we get in John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
So
The action was there in
I will
the parts
definitely
that had
recommend.
action. Yeah.
The introduction to Winston to the hotel was great. Outside.
Oh yeah. I knew it was going to happen. As soon as the speech was given, I was like, oh,
right.
okay. I see
Yeah.
what's going to happen here. I liked it. I just didn't. It didn't grab me like the Wick movies did. Like,
right.
it's going to be so hard. And the problem is, I need to grapple again with the fact that John Wick 4 was so incredible.
Yeah.
In so many ways, and this is TV. It's not the same John Wick. It's a totally different thing.
Right.
This is just supplementary material.
Yes.
Don't be mad at it. It's
And,
giving you a different kind of story.
And the director is an executive producer. He is not the director in this one.
I think you can tell.
Yeah. Now, there are 2 projects that he's working on right now that I'm semi excited for.
I know him, but tell me again.
Highlander.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get Henry as Connor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Ghost of Tsushima.
2 sword-based films.
With Sonata.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That's yeah. So
I would be interested to see what can be done. I mean, with both of those, really. But I would say that I'm probably more excited for Highlander because there hasn't really been any Highlander in so long.
Right.
But I mean, Ghost of Tsushima would be. I love the game.
Right.
And I know how good the story is.
Yeah.
So, it would be also great to see that. I'm really happy for either one of those.
Well, and from what he said, because he did an interview actually just a few weeks ago, he's planning on drawing out the story. He said because there's so many characters that, Connor was involved in up until the Quickening.
Yeah.
That his first movie is not going to end with the Quickening.
Fair enough. I mean, I think that's what people are going to be expecting. But, as long as that's been made clear in advance,
right?
So people aren't going to be bummed like, "Whoa, I didn't get." But okay, that fine. I think that makes sense.
Well, and the thing is like even in the first one, there's such a gap between when we're introduced to Connor and then when the final, you know, the quickening is. The Kurgan and his timelines are parallel so much. So you can have, that great, back and forth between the Kurgan and Connor for
Yeah.
centuries.
Pardon
So,
me. Who's gonna
and
play
we,
him?
Kurgan,
Yeah.
ooh,
Who do you want?
um,
Gonna be tough to stand in those shoes.
um, oh, the middle Skarsgård brother, the one that was in the Northman,
Um, the Norman I've just searched for.
the Norman, wrong
Uh,
movie.
Alexander Skarsgård.
Yes,
Yeah. Is wait what? No, okay. There's a picture of him with his head shaved. Weird.
oh yeah.
No, he okay, yeah. He he would you want to oh God, I forgot how jacked he is.
I know.
Wow.
And I mean,
Um
just thinking about it, you have to go against Henry Cavill. So you've got to have a massive dude.
yeah,
And he can act, So, I mean,
mm-hmm,
the acting back and forth will,
for sure.
and look at him playing the Berserker in the Northman.
No, I could see it. I could see it. For sure. No, I think that's a good choice. It's quite a good choice.
So,
Off the
and I
dome. Good
mean,
job.
yeah. And there could be a couple more that could probably, I don't think Alan Richardson has got good enough acting chops to go head to head like that in that kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's a massive dude that can be intimidating. So, but I wouldn't want somebody, definitely not somebody like The Rock or whatever.
That sucks. Don't
That
do that.
no,
Why would they? They wouldn't do
and
that,
I don't.
right?
He wouldn't do that.
That's
I
not even
know
on
the
the
director
table.
would not. Yeah.
No,
So, but everybody tries to, cast The Rock and everything. So,
I wouldn't.
no, I know. But let's just say major Hollywood.
Dwayne Johnson, you're not allowed in any of my projects. Sorry, buddy. You can come see them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the Continental. We look forward
Yes.
to the next movie.
Yes. And it comes out every Friday on Peacock. So,
Yep. Very cool. All right.
okay, let's
Ahsoka
get
time.
into it. All right.
So, I once again want to go through the episode via the Wikipedia plot
Okay.
breakdown, but just in general. And again, we're going to be doing some spoilers, and there'll be some pretty
Right.
big ones. Any thoughts so far? Further thoughts?
I'm kind of mid right now. I've got some issues with a few of the things. It's the saber fighting is still my biggest because I'll jump real quick because we know. Well, I'll wait and do this one until we do 6. We'll do 5 first and then 6.
Okay.
And I'll wait for. Um, I still say Ray is the like most attention grabbing character.
Be careful because you just said Ray. You mean Ray Stevenson.
Stevenson. I forget. The only Ray that matters in Star Wars, Ray
I
Stevenson.
disagree with you, but okay. No, he's not about Ray Stevenson though. He's
No.
so good in this.
Yeah.
And
I
no.
love the God. I don't know how to compare him to like a character that we've seen in other things. He knows he's, where he stands, but it's almost the whole time he's like this tormented, conflicted person,
He's eventually gonna stick his foot out and trip somebody. It's gonna happen. He's just waiting for his moment.
Right.
You can tell he's up to something.
And it's such a shame that I want to see so much more of. I would rather see more of this character than any other character we've seen so far in this show.
I agree. It is a real bummer. I'd like to see maybe we go do a prequel or something.
I know.
Nothing else.
And I know you disagreed with me on this, but I really think Liv Schreiber could do a younger version of him.
Totally disagree with you. I just feel like his energy is a little different. But I don't know how you're going to match.
Right. Well, and that's hard, and it really is. But like I said, in if you watch the show Ray Donovan, he's got a lot of kind of the feeling of what Ray Stevenson is doing
Okay, too many
in
Rays,
this.
dude.
I know, right? Well, these are both RAY, not REY. So
Okay, all right. No, but I can totally agree. He's really fun. I let's see, when was the big reveal was 6, right? Yeah, okay.
yes, yeah. So
So
let's go 5, and
I'll
then
leave
yeah,
the blue guy out of it until 6.
yeah.
Um,
And I have thoughts on him too.
me
So
too. Me too. All right, let me just jump into this.
okay,
Um, part 5, Shadow Warrior. Wasn't there a game called Shadow Warrior?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it a ninja game?
Yeah,
An old arcade
yeah, for
ninja
sure.
game?
Yep. We remember things.
I know, right?
Syndulla arrives on Cetos, where she finds Ahsoka and Ren gone. Hang on, I gotta move this. I can't be turning my head that way. This is ridiculous. Join the Discord. Watch us on YouTube. Let's see. While investigating alongside his mother, Jason Syndulla senses that Ahsoka is in the world between worlds, thus revealing his own connection with the Force. In the in-between space, Anakin explains to Ahsoka that he had been watching her through the Force and deduces that her loss with Skull is partially due to her unresolved guilt over the events that drove them apart. I'm fine with all that. I don't the world between worlds thing, I've never
It's not
really
my
it's not my
yeah.
cup of Star Wars tea, but whatever. You people can enjoy that. I like that it got us some live action Clone Wars. Some more live
And the
action Clone
girl
Wars.
was the girl that played the young Ahsoka.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I mean, totally
she
perfect.
was the young Gamora,
And I thought so.
and she
And
was
I
also apparently in the Barbie movie, which I will never see.
The Barbie
She
movie
was the
rules.
daughter.
I'm telling you, it
No,
rules. It rules.
suck
It's
it.
great. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I just think it's cool that we get to see. And that, by the way, the actress. At no point did I go, "That's a different person. This is a different character. This doesn't
Yeah,
like." I just bought it immediately.
I mean,
That's
not to
young
sound this
Ahsoka.
way, she appeared better more of Ahsoka than Rosario Dawson.
Well, it's many
Of what
years.
we've seen
It's many
previously.
years in between.
I get it. I
Many
get it.
many years.
Let me cross my arms.
Okay. All right.
Now
Uh,
I did like some of the imagery of her when she was in, not including just the one shot that was probably the best, which is just kind of a member berry, is the Anakin Vader image flip back and
I
forth.
didn't need that at all. That just makes me want to roll my eyes.
I mean, it was
I
kind of
get
neat
why
to
it's
see,
there.
but I get why it was there. But imagery wise, other than seeing like the live action Clone Wars stuff, I get it. It was kind of a neat, it's a good poster,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
No,
but it,
totally, it's
but I
fine.
didn't necessarily need it per se.
I feel like maybe that's going to be more interesting to people who love the Clone Wars TV show.
Right.
This whole thing is.
Yeah. Now I
Uh,
will say, and we're into this. They either need a stunt double for Rosario Dawson with lightsabers, or you need to figure something else out. Hayden Christensen hasn't really picked up a lightsaber, except for the last 2 years in a long time. And I know, I could never imagine her even going toe to toe with Anakin watching her.
I didn't feel that, but
Yeah.
you seem to have a different eye for the fights anyway.
He definitely looked like and I mean, I know it's the just trying to get her to realize, whatever, to live or die, which I thought that whole thing was kind of, uh, but anyway, I mean, it just goes to show that, his, just looking how much we should be appreciating the prequels when it comes to lightsaber battles.
I think that's pretty clear.
I mean, look at the work
Although
that between Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen did
and Ray
in
Park.
those, and Ray Park,
Oh my god!
and even Christopher Lee's stunt double.
Your swords.
Right.
rest in peace, Christopher Lee. God,
Yes,
every day I think about that man.
I know.
Um,
Who
I
needs a
totally
Roman
agree.
Empire when you have Christopher Lee?
I think I'm almost in this weird camp where I almost wish the prequels had gone a little less because then everything would match a little bit better. You know what I mean? But no,
Yeah,
they're incredible for sure. It's amazing stunt work, and it can't be it shouldn't be diminished at all. I think
no.
it's great. Uh,
But it just like I said, it when you're fighting like I said, when you're fighting somebody like that has that kind of swordsmanship, you have to match that for it to look believable
I
that you
didn't
would survive it.
it didn't occur to me that didn't look good. So I
I
don't know.
thought it was a better match of fighting with Ray Stevenson's character,
Hmm.
Balin, and Ahsoka.
Well, he's a slower moving guy
But he's more powerful, and that's
and more
it's
precise.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Well, that's a fair point anyway.
So like I said,
Uh,
Anakin would have turned her into, you know, squid kebabs.
Anakin loses the duel. Wait, Ahsoka loses the duel with Anakin and relives fragments of her past during the Clone Wars, during which she grows concerned that her legacy will only be one of fighting. Believing Anakin's teachings, including God, who wrote this? Believing Anakin's teachings includes his legacy as Darth Vader. Let me try this one more time. Believing Anakin's teachings includes his legacy as Darth Vader, she initially refuses him, determined to not be held back by the past, which leads to another duel between them. Finally understanding that she wasn't involved in Anakin's downfall and that her legacy is her own choice, Ahsoka chooses to live and continue fighting. Um, I, I think that's fine. I'm okay with that little point being made that her legacy is her own, and it's her involvement with Anakin didn't, number one, contribute to his dark side, and number two, like she's not, I don't know, tainted by him or whatever that thing is.
I was
That's
kind of
fine. I like
annoyed
that.
by the whole Ahsoka the White thing going on.
I liked it.
Uh,
What I really didn't like was when she took off her little hairband,
yeah.
headband. I don't like that. I didn't like that. That looked weird. But I liked her. I liked, yeah, her little Gandalf moment.
Uh, Gandalf, she is not
She didn't even have a walking stick.
yet.
Well, all right.
She did in the Clone Wars, or not Clone Wars Rebels. She
I'll
had a
take your word
staff.
for it. I don't remember. I didn't see
It
it.
was like I saw images. It's like one of the last scenes.
Okay. Ahsoka is recovered by Cindella's crew, and through her powers, she learns that Ren is with Skull. Cindella is contacted by Mon Mothma, who informs her that New Republic forces are en route to take her and Ahsoka into custody for defying the Senator's orders. As the Republic fleet detachment arrives, Ahsoka recruits a pod of Purrgil to take her and Huyang to Bridger and Ren, while Cindella, Jason, and Chopper stay behind.
I hate space whales.
I don't. I don't
I
have any.
just
I don't have anything. I'm just going to agree with you. I don't have any defense for that. I don't.
right. It's
This definitely puts the story into more of a fantasy thing, which Star
yeah,
Wars has always been science fantasy. I understand that, but this really
takes
further
it over
goes
the
into
top.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I like the concept. We've again, like we've talked about,
yeah,
going to these other worlds and doing these other things and or other galaxies, I should say.
right.
Um, but yeah, I don't know.
I
We'll just
was
move
waiting.
on from the
I was
whales.
waiting for Ahsoka to start talking like Dory from Finding Nemo.
I wasn't waiting for that.
Oh, bring us to.
Okay.
And I had one other thing is so does Hera's son have a new jet just comes up with a new Jedi power that she can hear or whatever he was like projecting his what he was hearing in the world between her worlds to her now.
I guess that it just implies that you could physically hear it.
So
I, Listen,
but
man,
if it
I
so
didn't
now
write it.
everybody can tap into the force, not
I
so
don't know
that
if it.
completely retcons. If that's the case, that completely retcons anything from the prequels.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everyone has some midichlorians, right? So I don't know, man. I have no answers on this.
I
We
just,
can leave that alone. I really don't
yeah,
know. I really don't know.
yeah.
That's the end of part 5.
This is why I don't have a ton of faith in Filoni.
Okay.
Just
Part
saying.
6. Part
Okay.
6.
Yes.
Far, far away.
Okay.
Directed by Jennifer Getzinger. The last one, part 5, was directed by Filoni.
Yeah.
Anyway, part 6, Far, Far Away. While traveling with the Purgle. Oh, Ahsoka and Huyang discuss Ren's choice in siding with the enemy to find Ezra. Meanwhile, the Eye of Sion, not Sauron, the Eye of Sion arrives on Peridia, the ancient homeworld of Elsbeth's people known as the Dathomiri. Elsbeth, Skull, Hati, and Ren meet the Great Mothers, a group of Night Sisters allied with Thrawn. Again, with the Dune things.
Yeah.
Immediately I thought of not only the what are they even called in Dune? The mothers,
I know what you're talking about. I can't.
wow, I've been a huge Dune fan and I can't think of the most basic Dune information.
Yeah.
The the Missionaria Protectiva.
Yeah.
What is that? What are they called? Oh, dude, people are screaming at me right now. The ladies that make him put his hand in a box.
Right.
The Dune, dude. The Reverend Mothers, the Bene Gesserit. Thank you, Internet. They reminded me of the Bene Gesserit, but also a much later Dune thing. And again, I keep bringing it up every time because there's so many similarities from the later Dune books,
right?
Like with the extra galaxy and stuff. The Honored Matres are a thing that appear much later, and they're like a weird offshoot of the Bene Gesserit,
right.
But they control with more like violence, and they have similar goals to the Bene Gesserit, but they fight the Bene Gesserit.
Right.
It's like a witch fight. It's cool. It happens later in the books.
Warring faction.
Basically, yeah. But just the visual of them, I was like, these look like Honored Matres from Dune. And the whole concept is that they're all kind of like ethereal and strange, and they can see things in the future and whatever. They're like Jedi in some way.
Right.
But I like the Night Sisters, always have. They're a thing that has existed since early expanded universe.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So
that's why it always threw me off of the 3 that we got, of how they look. I mean, that's been well described. And then what's her face?
Elspeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just has the one tattoo.
What's going on? That's hold on.
You looked around like something was happening.
I know. No, I had a weird thing.
Okay.
It's the ghost again.
In bad gas.
Yeah.
Okay. I can edit it out. Don't worry.
Okay.
Anyway, Night Sisters, I'm cool with it. They're
right.
Fun.
Yeah.
As they wait for Grand Admiral Thrawn's arrival, Skull relates that to Hati his belief that the fall of the Jedi and the rise of the Empire were part of an inevitable cycle, one he intends to break. Thrawn arrives with his Star Destroyer, the Chimera, and honors Skull's promise by providing Ren with provisions, a Howler mount, and the latest intelligence on Bridger's whereabouts. Let's talk about Thrawn.
Okay.
I love seeing the Chimera.
Yeah.
A book that I've read about since the Heir to the Empire books.
Right.
And I like the way it looks, like it's been repaired and patched and whatever. That's cool.
It's almost like clockwork. It's almost like clockwork on the outside on spots.
I do feel that maybe Thrawn, we needed one moment. His introduction is a little weak.
Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that Lars, it was the voice, but I think they miscast him as the live action.
He's a little older than I think of Thrawn.
And not just that, it's Thrawn with a dad bod, which that's kind of.
He said, listen, they've been gone for 10 years.
It doesn't matter.
His diet sucks. He's stressed out.
His species. has a metabolism that's even in the books, in the cartoon, in the animated, that he is supposed to be like peak physical, mental and physical
I'm
attributes.
gonna look over it, but it doesn't look exactly like you would expect Thrawn to look. I would agree.
No.
Um,
And his, like you said, I think his introduction was, I think, probably more lackluster than you do, because every time Thrawn walks in a room, he pretty much intimidates almost everyone in it. And I didn't get that feeling from Mickelson,
yeah,
his portrayal of it.
I agree with you. Um, I did think there were a couple moments that did tap into. There's a thing that you get in some sci-fi sometimes. Ever since I was a kid, like the first time I saw Star Wars, and you see the ship go over,
Right,
and the massive scale of it gives you this weird feeling. And seeing the ship over the tower
right,
and the scale of it all, I did get that weird. I don't know what to call it. It's like this, like almost like mystical vertigo. I don't know any other way to put
yeah.
it. It's like this weird.
It's like this almost dizzying,
Yeah,
like I don't want to call it panic, but like
you can't.
anxiety,
You
anxiety.
almost can't like process.
Yeah,
Anyway, actually got a little bit of that, which that doesn't happen for me with Star Wars anymore. They just usually
right.
can't. They normally don't get there. There's the
The only thing
weirdness
that
and
kind of had that feeling. Remember in Rogue One, where they blew up the planet.
yeah,
That kind of, that was the
and
same
the
a
wall
little
of
bit. Yeah,
explosion is following them.
oh,
I
yeah,
see what you mean. No, I see what you mean. I could agree with you there. But this did kind of hit that note for me, and so
right.
there was a good flavor there at that moment. Um, but yeah, I do think of Thrawn as a little bit more.
Intimidating.
Mhm.
And
But
I just didn't think he was.
I liked his troopers. I think they're
Now,
fine.
do you
There's
think
more
they're
going
all
on.
undead?
I know that's been the rumor.
Because with the red ribbon wrapped around them,
Yeah, like they've all been killed and then brought back,
right, from the
um,
sisters.
or something. I mean, could it be that Merrick was that? You know what I mean? Like just sort of like a reanimated corpse or something. I don't know. We'll get the answer
Right,
probably, or at least we'll get a hint.
right.
But I don't know. I don't hate the look anyway. I really like the
I mean, I
trooper
honestly
with
like
the
the look of
mask.
the troopers, and
The one
then
with the
even,
mask.
and he is a ripoff of an EU character. I know he
Oh, is
is.
he?
Yeah,
Trying to think of the character's
and I
name.
can't remember his. Yeah, I know here. Yeah.
It's like a classic name. It's like
Mm-hmm.
hold on. I'm gonna Google this. Ahsoka trooper with mask helmet. Come on. What is the name? I know it.
I know.
This is good podcasting. I'll admit it. I'll say it. And
Yeah.
people know it.
Right.
People love hearing people search for things.
Well,
We
it's
get
no different.
feedback all the time.
It is no different than if we were hanging out at a video store or a comic
Let
book
me look it
store.
up.
So, yeah,
Boy, I'm about to give up.
hold on. Just type in Gold Mask Trooper from Ahsoka.
I tried that and I failed at it. Enoch.
Enoch.
Enoch. I think
That's
it's a
not a
cool.
that's not a religious reference from anything.
Yeah, for sure. But it is interesting that they fit that weird face, and it's like bronze. Uh, it's interesting. Anyway,
It almost reminds me of in Gladiator, the one
I
gladiator he has
exactly
to
know what you.
fight.
Yeah, I exactly know what you're talking about. Yeah, there is like the sort of an ancient feel to it for
Yeah.
sure. But anyway, Enoch, something's going on there. I like the look of the troopers. It's fine. I get it. And Thrawn
Right.
even mentioned something along the lines of like, "Hey, I don't want to send too many guys because we've already lost so many guys." Like,
And that's why I think they're all undead, and that's why the red ribbon are around them all.
well, there's also the moment there's a one line to the Night Sisters where he says, "I'm going to need your magic again one more
Yeah,
time." What was it the first time? Was it bringing
yeah,
my guys back from the dead?
right.
I don't know. But no, I like seeing the army there and they're chanting Thrawn and all that stuff. Cool, it's fine. They give him a bit of it. It's not like he doesn't get an introduction. Just like you would think of like Vader who
I
blows up
was
a
gonna
door
say
and
the
walks in a
opening,
room and
right?
that kind of thing, or even like the Emperor with his music playing and
As much
Vader
hype
walking him
as
down the line.
as much hype as Thrawn got for being in live action, I expected a New Hope doorway Vader,
Yeah, me too,
and
for
this
sure.
was not. This was not that.
I'm not going to call this a failure, but I think it's a missed opportunity for sure. Let's say that. After Ren leaves, Thrawn orders Skull and Hadi to follow her at their own pace so they can kill both her and Bridger. Surviving an ambush by bandits, Ren encounters the native Noti and follows them to their village where she reunites with Bridger.
You mean the rock trolls from Frozen?
I don't. I haven't seen Frozen, so I'm just gonna say yes. I've seen Frozen
People,
2.
people, well, they were in that too
Oh,
for a
were they?
minute,
I
for a
don't
hot
remember.
minute. Yeah.
Uh, anyway, I didn't love their design. I watched it with my wife, and she was rolling her eyes and sighing loudly when they
Yeah.
were on the screen.
I mean,
He hates cutesy stuff. If it's cutesy, get
I
out.
will give them props for trying to make a new creature,
Yeah, it's fine
but it was rock trolls meets Jawas.
with stalk eyes. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever, not my thing.
And
But
then, then it's like the other creatures that attacked. It's like, okay, where did they come from? What were
mm-hmm.
they? There
You
was
really have an
no,
opportunity. You're in a new galaxy to
yeah.
do some weird ass creatures.
And give like a small explanation of what
Well, like
it's like
my
these.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's like almost doing a sequel thing. Oh, well, these are the Sand People. Well, even in A New Hope, we had more of a visual description of kind of what Sand People were. It's just some rando, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of that with just in itself.
Yeah, no, I agree. They weren't amazing. Again,
No,
you have this. You're in a whole new galaxy.
right,
You have this opportunity, and I get that. There's going to be different creatures on every planet. Blah blah blah.
right,
But also, the galaxy is going to be composed of different stuff, probably.
right.
So evolution was going to happen different. Blah blah blah. The point
Yeah,
is, you could have used this as an excuse to do some real weird thing,
right.
and they didn't do it. They just
No,
did turtle rock guys with cutesy voices. Whatever. Fine.
yeah,
Moving on.
okay.
While tracking Ren, oh, she meets up with Bridger. This really meant
I
nothing to
was
me
that
because
was
I
the
didn't watch
most
Rebels.
like yeah, this was the most like uninspiring reunion that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
She was so longing for to get him back, and how many years has it been? And it's like, oh hey, hi, oh little pet
Yeah.
hug.
I missed you.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
I mean,
I don't know these characters well enough to know
right.
what it would make sense for them to actually do. So I guess maybe it's not in the character for them to like cry or something. I don't know.
Well, the way she was all longing and everything else beforehand,
Yeah, you'd think
I
something.
you would think it would be a little more emotional.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So,
While tracking Ren, Skull senses that there is a greater power on Peridia, and he tells Hadi that he intends to find it and use it. Anticipating Ahsoka coming with the Purgle, Thrawn demands all the details of her history from Elsbeth and orders her to kill any arriving Purgle. I think the biggest promise here is Skull finding something. What's he going to
yeah.
find? Is it going to be related to Palpatine in some way? Is it going to be related to something else? what is this? I have a lot of questions. I
Right.
I don't really think it's going to be Palpatine, but
You never know. They're trying to connect everything to the sequels now. So,
you're right. But
I mean,
I don't know. But in general, there was some stuff I enjoyed. That this episode wasn't my favorite. I also when Hu Yang was telling the story and said in a galaxy far, far away,
right.
I was like, I looked over at my wife and I was like, can he say that? Can you say that in Star Wars?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that. Like, how do we feel about it? I don't know how I feel about it. Is
Yeah.
it okay?
So it's like, is he the narrator for all the movies? You
Is
know,
he?
I
I don't
mean,
know. What are they telling me right now?
yeah.
It's just a wink, I guess.
That's the only thing I can think of, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest problem that I think I have kind of with this show. There's just this lot of wink, wink, nudge, nudge to everything that came before it instead of really basing out its own story that's in this universe.
Star Wars does a little bit of that.
But I
All
mean,
over the
no,
place.
no, but that's what I'm saying. We've gotten to a point that I think even in writing, Star Wars itself with George, even to a degree, the prequels, their references were things outside of the Star Wars universe. And it seems now that all these new Star Wars products are just having references inside the Star Wars universe.
I mean, you can't deny that it's happening.
I mean, so, and I think that's what made, I know there's people that don't like the prequels, and looking back at them longer than when they first came out, I've grown more fond of them.
Sure.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff to rag on. I mean, Gungans especially. Let's be honest.
It's not new. That was from day
No,
one.
I know. And that really hasn't
What?
changed, and that
What?
really hasn't changed my mind in any way either. But yeah, I like I said, there were so many references in writings before that, before we got into, and I don't want to rag because I have liked a few things that they've done, but the Disney Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, on average more than not, they're only referencing Star Wars itself instead of this veil of this is Star Wars, but there's maybe it's chalking up to experienced writers compared to what we're getting now.
Yeah, I don't know where to.
I don't know where to go with it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But I'm still gonna say that I like. I think Andor is doing a good job of not doing that. So if nothing else, Andor is plotting its own course here.
well, we know how that ends.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But that's all my thoughts on Ahsoka for now.
Yeah.
It, it's fine.
I we've got what,
enjoy
two more
watching it every week.
episodes left?
Yeah, two more left.
Yeah. Like I said, there's bits and pieces that I can take out of it that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Do
I
you think it would
honestly
be?
think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I honestly think in episode 5 was kind of, and I never was a huge. Yes, he was a little wooden in his acting, but I think a lot of it that's how George wrote him.
You're talking about Anakin.
Anakin, but I think Chris,
Well, how
Hayden
you got to match
Christensen,
him up with the James Earl Jones performance a little bit.
right,
So it makes
right,
sense that he's trying to do that. I understand, but
right.
it's still weird.
It is, but I think this episode was probably his best performance as Anakin.
I don't know if I could argue with you.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a little bit of a per se like acting redemption
Yeah, maybe so.
because he didn't seem as uber stiff,
Yeah,
you know. So I don't know that if this was, and it's still like kind of ambiguous whether it was Anakin's Force Ghost or just in her head, Ahsoka's head going on.
right, right.
So I mean, maybe this was not per se Anakin, but her perception of
I
Anakin.
think that's really what it is because it's all in her head.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what I'm
and
going for.
apparently she doesn't need to breathe being underwater apparently that long.
Yeah, well, I guess we do know it's quite a while. I don't know about her physiology. Like maybe it doesn't matter as much
And
for
when we
her.
get
It's
we
Star
get
Wars.
people like Kit Fisto and oh god, what's his name? All the green tentacles on his head.
You don't mean Kit Fisto again?
Or no, not no, Kit Fisto and he wore the respirator. Had like a squid, almost a squid head.
Zuckus?
Zuckus. No, no, not the bounty hunter, the Jedi.
Oh, a Jedi.
Yeah.
Uh,
That they needed a rebreather. Anyway, that they needed a
oh, you're
rebreather
talking about Plo
underwater.
Koon.
Plo Koon, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Plo Koon. That they both needed a rebreather underwater, yet Ahsoka
Well, they're
was good to
different
go.
creatures. They're different creatures. I don't know, man.
Shakti didn't breathe underwater either, and she was the same one. So
Okay,
she
you win.
was.
All right, but that's all I have for
I
Ahsoka.
know. Yeah.
Um, anything else you need to discuss before we get out of here?
Just we are coming up to Halloween.
Oh yeah,
And speaking of Star Wars and Halloween, in our Discord discussion, I put an awesome little fan made horror Star Wars
join
movie.
the get in the Discord to see things
Yes,
like that.
yes,
Join the conversation, talk to us,
yes.
yell at us, other things.
Other things,
I got
but
nothing else.
no, that's it. I'm tapped out.
All
So,
right, we'll see you soon for Spooky Month, and until then,
all
yeah,
right.
say hi to us in the Discord.
Yep. See you guys.
Goodbye.
Like, subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.